I'm Jean Quesnel. I've been involved in evaluation for quite a few decades. And presently, my current status is to be active as an advisor to the board of the IOCE. I teach in evaluation at the UN Staff College and at the Université du Québec, Carleton University, and been involved in the French version of the IPDEP course during the summertime. The purpose of the presentation that I did as a keynote speak was basically about capacities of the volunteer organizations for a professional evaluation. Basically, the general framework as to how this works and how we can make them perform very well. I made 10 points, and the first point was that basically it's all about volunteer working together. And one has to understand why they come. They come because they are, in a way, want to learn and share together. There's also a sense of community that is being built. And for some of them more advanced, there's even a sense of getting a profession recognized in doing so. So the second point, based on the fact it's all volunteer organization, is that we need to have a clear vision as to what evaluation is. There's a lot of cacophony worldwide as to what evaluation is. And evaluation is all about achieving good results, good benefits for everyone. It's mostly an empowerment process with all stakeholders for the use of evaluation. And it's also about re-engineering, doing better. And having all these three elements, which are the substantive part, well, it serves for accountability and transparency. The other point that is very important is that there are three levels where these volunteer organizations exist: the international level, the regional level, and the national level. And at the international level, those who are more predominant, there's of course Eval Partners as a forum, there's the Organization of International Cooperation for Evaluation, there's also EDS, which is mostly International Development Evaluation Association. Another one, humanitarian assistance, doing a fine job, it's called ALNAP, the Active Learning Network. And at the regional levels, of course, in each region, they now have groupings dealing with more regional concerns and also adapting a lot of evaluation to the culture of those parts of the world. And at national level, there's about 109 now of them working mostly in the field of good governance, using evaluation to support good governance, both in the government side, both in the NGO side, and some of them a bit in private sector side. So the fourth point that I made is that what is crucial for the success of these organizations is their strategic alliances with the partners. Partners being both those who provide evaluation, but also those who use evaluation. And hence you need to connect. You need to connect with the parliamentarians, for example. You need to connect with the government and work closely with the national machinery that exists in governments. And you need to work with the communities of NGOs and private sectors. And of course, you need to connect with all others, worldwide organizations to get the work done. The fifth point that I wanted to make is that to create a volunteer organization takes time. It's not something that you can do overnight. It's not taking an instant. And you need to adapt to the local context. It's a bottom-up approach. And in a way, in this context also, one has to recognize that evaluation as a function has evolved over the last decade. It had different purposes. In the 60s, when it was created, it was basically applied research. And then after that, in the 70s, that's when evaluation became international, because there was a great push of international development agencies wanting for accountability. And then so on, it moves on, evolving much more to serve the purpose of improving the program cycle, and about learning. And of course, right now, the main vogue is results-based management and accountability and transparency. The sixth point that I made is that there's somewhat, it's a model that I use, that are four typical phases in the development of such organization. The first phase is really the rally call. You bring people interested in evaluation, you create a community, you share what is existing, and basically it's to advocate for evaluation, making sure the evaluations are well understood. The second phase is really one of sharing good practices in a more systematic way, methodologies and case studies. So in a way, it's learning via peer sharing. And also, at that stage, normally the organization has a basic course, an ABC course, is what evaluation is and how you can conduct evaluation. The third phase, I call it the pathfinding. It's really going beyond just the ABC, the first level, but getting in more specialized themes and grouping, either by sectors or by theme like gender, for example, or environment. And there, basically, the organization starts to develop approaches to evaluation on a consensual basis. And then at that stage, pretty well, you are quite far in being professional about evaluation. And the fourth phase is the normative level, where basically you professionalize evaluation. You have the norms and standard, code of conduct, and you may even have levels of accreditation. The first level is what we call credentialization. Basically, it's a recognition by the association that a member has the competency to be evaluators. The other one would be more certification, where you have to pass a test and to be able to be recognized. And the third level, which I don't think will come, and I hope not, it's really the licensing, that you need to have a license to be an evaluator. And I think because I'm one that thinks evaluation is quite inclusive, it may not be the best way. The seventh point was all about professionalization. And why professionalization? Well, the notion is that if you have people with basic skill set and competence, and they do quality evaluation, and hence comes out credibility as to what the work is, and reliance on the products and better use for evaluation for decision making. And the other point that I made is basically lessons on how we can perform well as a volunteer organization. It turns around basically that you need to have a clear sense of mission. You need basically to have the membership inclusive, multidimensional in perspective of evaluation. It really is all about staying engaged in commitment as to what evaluation is, and of course a systematization of advocacy communication is very important. And then what are really the big challenges? And the big challenges is all about understanding the context you work in and adapt evaluation to that particular cultural context that you're in. The challenges too is to understand how to run a volunteer organization and keep everyone motivated. It's the challenges too is to be able to sustain the leadership, because people invest a lot, eventually there's a fatigue, and how really to renew that and keep that going. And of course, the challenges very often is to have the resources that you need in order to be able to do all the activities that you would want to do. And lastly, basically, the big questions is that how can you overcome these challenges, and how you can find tips in order to do that better. And in that context, it's pretty well the ABC of running a volunteer organization. And it's all about keeping people highly motivated, and also focusing on immediate results, and recognizing the achievement done, and serves both as a way to demonstrate the value of the organization, plus, of course, to motivate those that are involved. And, of course, challenges are to be able to connect with the users, like parliamentarians, like the government, and be seen as a collaborator and not as a threat or someone who does an oversight from outside. And the last point that I made is basically something I've been saying over years, is that an evaluation is just not the job. It's not just doing the tasking, the processing of doing your research and coming with good conclusions. Evaluation is really fundamentally a vocation. It's a commitment vocation and what I seek to change the world. So that basically is a summary of the, and then during the plenary there was questions being asked, well, change the world, you're not being overly ambitious. And then I explained how at different levels that the evaluation has changed the lives of people. You do a big integrated rural program and you do an assessment. Well, the evaluation touches everyone's life on that level. And at the world level, when we will do the evaluation of the achievement of the Millennium Development Goal and understanding what it is, well, if there's really in the history of humanity not one strategy that has affected to change the world, combat poverty, that's what it is, and evaluation will be called upon to really improve for the next round. I was honored by the members of Eval Partners with an award, the first time such an award is given. It's a great honor to be the first one to receive it. And the real reason is that indeed I have committed myself to capacity building. The first time was really to develop capacities within the OECD members themselves. And then, of course, I've been involved in pretty well actively in the creation of each regional associations and, of course, many other national associations. The award is really a recognition, not of what I've done, because I haven't done it myself. We did it all together. So it's really a reward and an applause as to how far we've gone far in developing capacities and evaluation. And I find the Eval Partners is really walking through the twilight now of a whole new generation, whole new dynamics, and it feels very warm to the heart to see that happen. It feels warm to the heart that all the members were there to recognize me, but it wasn't me, it's all of them through me.